No,
I start talking about the Race King, and they're like, "No, dude, you need to talk about like your passion and your drive." I'm like, "All right, whatever."
We want some emotion, Dylan Johnson. Come on, show the emotion.
Yeah, well, I get passionate about tires.
Yeah.
What up, party people? All right, so after last week's episode, where mid-recording, we found out that the one and only friend of the pod, Lance Haidet, had not gotten back into the Lifetime Grand Prix for 2025. We decided it was high time that we get him back on the show to talk about it. So if you came here exclusively for the sweet Cali, low-key, laid-back vibes of Sir Lancey Pants, go ahead and skip ahead now to about 10 to 12 minutes in, because that's when he tunes into the show. We started early because we were all on, already talking about some other business. We figured, you know what, let's go ahead and press record so we don't miss any of this sweet banter. So yeah, this was a fun episode with Lance. If you have any questions or feedback for the show, or hey, maybe you have a guest that you'd love for us to just get on the podcast sometime, hit us up at bonkbrospodcast@gmail.com, or you can slide into those Instagram DMs. I don't have the latest SILCA code for y'all just yet, but tune into the show notes because we'll make sure whatever the latest codes are for those sweet discounts from our friends over at SILCA, we're going to always have those latest codes in the latest episode. So make sure you check out the latest episode show notes for what those discount codes are. All right, let's get this party started. Honestly, it was kind of nice for those 2 weeks when Dylan took his off season because he could actually schedule meetings at normal times.
Meetings
or whatever. Like whenever we were like, you could actually make the MATCHBOX podcast without us like having to pull your leg.
Yeah, I guess
now
true.
Now you're just back to like heavy training and can't make anything happen.
Yeah, dude, this training is so heavy, man. Let me tell you about it.
Yeah, right.
I rode like 13 hours last week. I don't know if you guys know about that.
That's more than I've done.
I think I've ridden 13 hours since Schwamigan.
Yeah, Scott or CJ asked me like, how's Scott loving, like, how's he liking married life? And I'm like, I don't know. All he talks about is working on his house. And I'm like, I don't think he's even ridden his bike in like 2 months.
Dude,
he's just been working on a house like nonstop.
Dude, Scott's been married since like high school. Basically. He just officially got married this summer.
Yeah, probably accurate.
Yeah.
Is that accurate, Scott?
Hold on, I gotta leave and come back.
Not of course.
Cop out, of course.
Not a proper Bonk Bros without technical issues within the first minute and a half.
Dude, did you guys see that Tom Pidcock is leaving Ineos?
Dude,
and going to I don't even know what the name of that team is. Q3, what is it? Q36
37 and a half or something?
Is it 37 and a half or 36 and a half?
I don't know.
You should know this.
Scott probably knows.
Q36.5. It must be like a radio station.
No, it's
it does sound like a radio station.
That's the human body temperature.
Wow,
yeah, it's a clothing company.
Dude, that's what. Why isn't Pidcock going to freaking Yumbo or UAE or like what happened? Like,
because all those, dude, remember like all those teams have already like used up all their budget because they're paying Wout for the rest of his life. They're paying Tade for the rest of his life. Like,
yeah, I guess so.
They keep dropping all these mega Celsius deals.
It's not 36 and a half. I knew that wasn't right. 37.
Is it
They're
actually?
just pulling that out of their ass.
Yeah, but Q37 doesn't sound as cool as Q36.5.
No, that name is. I mean, that name just in general is terrible.
I think it's growing on me, dude. Q36.5, dude. That sounds dope.
Growing on you since you heard it 30 seconds ago.
Yeah,
bringing to you the most recent jazz music on the air.
Dude, is it actually 37 degrees?
Yeah,
that's okay. Well, that's
Celsius.
Dumb. Yeah. Okay. So, I don't get why you guys are so shocked. I mean, hasn't this been old news?
Well, he's been like thinking. I guess there's been rumors about him leaving Ineos all summer, but I guess what's shocking is the team that he's going to.
Do you think it's arrogant of him to think like, I'm already on one of the best teams in the world, and I don't like that they don't like me as much or whatever. Like he's upset because they're not focusing on him as much, right? Like he wants to be a GC guy and they're like,
have you talked to him? How do you know he's upset?
I don't know. I'm just assuming like you wouldn't, if you're happy with a team, you wouldn't leave the team.
I don't know. He did say 2025 is about to get lit. That is quote straight from Pidcock.
Whose decision is it? Is it Ineos's decision or is it Tom Pidcock's decision?
Oh, Pidcock's for sure.
I think in this case it was Pidcock.
It says he terminated his contract.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Gotcha.
Can you just terminate? I don't get what the point of the contract is if you can just end it at any
You usually
time.
have to pay a penalty and or forfeit whatever earnings you were supposed to make thereafter.
Yeah, well, it's always good to have some kind of agreement in writing, even if the agreement isn't like solid. You know, like we have all the athletes for Ignition sign an athlete agreement, and it's mainly just to lay out, here's what we expect of you. But if you don't live up to that, like I don't plan on suing anybody because they
tell people that.
Yeah, but like it's good to have. I mean, we can because they signed it, but like I don't want to do that. That's going to be that'd be more pain than it's worth. But I still want to lay out some kind of an expectation of
hey, everybody who's going to sign up for coaching, our athlete agreement means absolutely nothing. Just so you know,
no, it means something. It means
then they'll sign it because it means nothing.
Yeah.
Anyways,
or they won't. I don't know.
Nobody cares about this athlete agreement.
It's good to I'm just saying it's good to have something. I
agree, Scott.
So that both parties know what's expected. Like, all right, we expect you to do these things, and in return, we're going to do these things.
All right, I think Tom,
if that's not in writing,
a little
then
bit more involved than this athlete agreement.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably.
Dude, for real.
I was just trying to make a.
Does it say how much he's making at the new place? Trying to find it.
I don't know.
No, but
did he take a pay cut or pay increase?
I don't believe that when people say this stuff, like, how do you know how much money somebody's actually making between third-party sponsors and their actual contract? Yeah, but somebody made that up on Google, and then it's like all this stuff just comes from somebody pulling something out of their ass. Have you seen the contract?
Yeah. No, zero.
Dude, you know how Google has generated AI answers now? Like that's just pulled from the internet. Like. Hey, Google could pull that from our podcast.
I could put it on here, and it will probably come up on, the AI.
Adam, look up how much Tom Pidcock makes right now.
Well, yeah. So he was making 2.9 mil at Ineos, but that was salary from his team. They estimate he was making around 4 mil with extra sponsors. Trying to find this Q36.5.
So
this is the only team that I remember.
So he'll take that 4 mil with him. I mean, so he's sitting pretty regardless. Like he could just go with 0 team, just black bibs.
Damn, dude.
He could just black
6.5 mil is what the rumors are.
6.5 mil?
Double?
Straight up doubling.
That's not
salary.
double.
More than 2.9 to 6 something.
4,
Scott, bro.
4 to
2.9. No, 4 was with all of his additional sponsors.
From his team.
Yeah.
Scott. Math.
Still more than double, but whatever. So I guess we'll just do like mountain biking more now.
Is this team
it said he's still going to be running Pinarello for mountain biking.
Yeah, that's kind of wild. 2 different bike brands.
Yeah, and also Scott's the Q3 6.5 bike sponsor, right, Scott?
Yeah, but are you talking to me or are you talking about the bike?
I'm both.
That was confusing. I was a little confused. I was like, what did he just say? Like Scott. And then I figured it out. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Scott, he rides a Scott, right?
There you go.
One of the riders told me once that the owner of the team, I guess, or the guy who funds the team, either bought Pinarello or is gonna buy Pinarello bikes. But they had they signed this 3-year deal with Scott at the beginning of the team. So they'll probably go to Pinarello after this year, after 25, in 26. I'd imagine.
Dude, so check this. So this Velo News article is talking about the terms of him breaking his contract with Ineos. And it says that they could still likely have to pay him up to 40% of his extended salary through the 2026 season.
Okay. All right, Lance, we wanted to bring you on to talk about how Lifetime snuffed you.
Well, hold on. This is Lance Haidet. For those of for all the listeners, we got Lance Haidet on the podcast today, guest appearance. Because, it could be confusing.
Adam is going to introduce him in the intro, bro. Shut up.
Oh, yeah, that's true. All right, then whatever. Right. Continue on.
Well, thank you guys for having me on. What are we chatting about today?
We were just talking about how Pidcock
let's keep talking about that.
Ineos.
You got thoughts about that?
Dude,
they don't have to be factual thoughts.
I don't know. I feel like the way it all kind of went, there was probably some pretty gnarly stuff that went on. I don't know. I mean,
any stipulations? What kind of gnarly stuff are we thinking about?
Dude, I'm not going into that. I don't know. I have no clue. It's kind of sick that he's going to be on a team that has no history of doing anything off-road at all, which I guess Grenadiers didn't either, but
that was the wildest thing to me is that I guess it was kind of like when Froome went to Israel Premier Tech. It seems like a massive downgrade. Yeah. But I guess if they have the money, they have the money.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. So Scott, hold on. So Q365, the owner of the team, also owns Pinarello.
Are you stating as a fact, or you?
Google. Okay, I'm stating Velo News' article. They're stating it as a fact.
Okay,
but we were trying to figure out that debacle earlier.
But they don't run Pinarellos on that team.
No, I told you because they signed a 3-year deal with Scott when they started the team, and then I guess the owner bought Pinarello after the fact.
Got it.
But they still have this deal.
Interesting.
Why don't they just terminate that? It seems like they're just terminating things left and right. They could just
true. Right. Contracts aren't anything.
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything.
I don't know.
All right, Lance. What was your hot take?
Does this mean Pidcock's not going to be in the tour? Will be in the tour? What's his racing going to look like? Is he still going to be able to do all the normal races?
I mean, do you think that team was not in the tour, right?
This team is like a pro Conti team.
It's like the same level as Echelon. It's as if Pidcock got picked up by Echelon.
No, it's a pro Conti team, isn't it?
Yeah, but Echelon was doing all the same races as I think this team, the Q36.5.
Yeah, right? But they're a Conti team.
Okay.
Scott, can you confirm?
Difference, but
what
is Echelon and Q36.5 on the same level?
No, not even close. Q36 it's a good team. They do. They did Paris-Roubaix, Flanders. They do.
They were not in the tour, right?
No, Scott, are you shitting on Echelon right now?
Huh?
You shitting on Echelon? You just said that.
Do you think Echelon
Q365 is a good team?
Soon? I don't think so.
We're trying to figure out.
No, they do a lot of World Tour one-day races. They just don't get into the Grand Tours.
The Grand Tours, yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, but a signing like Pidcock could help them.
The team can't just get into the Grand Tour and then sign good riders. You have to sign the good riders and then grow the team. You know what I mean? So
Alpecin had never been.
Think he's going to a no-name team, but this team could be in 5 years. The next whatever, Jumbo Visma or whatever.
Long game.
Nice.
Yeah, I guess that's sort of what
egg
Alpecin
before
did.
the chicken.
And Pidcock's still only 25 or something, right? He's still pretty young.
I've heard this, but I don't know how accurate this is. Is Pidcock wants to be a Tour de France GC rider? Is that part of why he did this move?
Do you think he's capable of that?
I don't know.
Because
I'm not talking about is he capable. I've just heard that that's what he wants to do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that's what like every cyclist would want to do is be a GC rider. I'm just saying, you know, most of the GC riders by the time they're Pidcock's age, they've done really well in a G. Like, has Pidcock hasn't podiumed Grand Tour yet, has he?
No, but he was top 10 in the Tour last year, wasn't he? Wasn't he like 9th or 10th in the Tour?
He's only won 5 races.
Grant Thomas.
Like 5 road races?
5 races, yeah. But I think like they're all big, right? Like he won a stage of the Tour and still gold.
So another factual statement from Velo News or whatever. It says that, however, with Pidcock recently saying he wanted to focus on the classics and other major one-day races, not the Grand Tours, he appears willing to forego Grand Tours to focus on one-day racing and more time towards mountain biking. So,
okay,
sounds like
that sounds like a better choice.
Contender.
Yeah.
That sounds
to what Dylan was talking about. But in the Netflix series, they made it sound like he was like he wanted to be the next, like he wanted to win the Tour. But the Netflix series can make anything sound like anything.
I mean, that's whoever's asking the questions makes it.
Yeah,
they direct you down that path, you know.
Right. Exactly.
But
yeah, no, like Lance, have you been interviewed by Lifetime ever?
Yeah, a few times.
Yeah, sure. They do the same thing. They're like asking you very specific questions, and they're like, you have to answer in this way. I'm like, this doesn't seem authentic at all, but okay, I'll try.
They're like, Dylan, we know you want to get top 10, but 16th is your lane. Stay your lane, buddy.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about tires, and they're like, no, you have to talk about like the passion and the drive and like your focus. And I'm like,
the guy behind the camera is like,
talk about that shit.
Cut the cameras. we're not putting this in there. No. I start
talking about the Race King, and they're like, no, dude, you need to talk about like your passion and your drive. I'm like, all right, whatever.
We want some emotion, Dylan Johnson. Come on, show the emotion.
Yeah, well, I get passionate about tires.
Yeah. I was the same way. Like, I feel like I got a couple interviews early on, and then they just stopped because I wasn't dramatic enough. So it's like,
is that why they canned you?
Yeah. Probably. What's up with that?
Probably. No, I honestly, I mean, I feel like my results last year, I was like definitely kind of on the cusp of whether or not I would make it. I was like one of those few riders that were like,
bro, you were 16.
Yeah.
I know somebody who is historically finished 16th.
I know.
Wow. And he basically took your spot. Like,
no, Dylan. So my thing is I had a lot of like pretty solid results. Nothing spectacular in the Grand Prix last year, where I think the few riders that were like around me in the overall that did make it in had more standout rides, or like one standout ride, you know, which I think, I don't know, if you look at potential of like some dark horse who could land on the podium after my season last year, I probably wasn't that rider. Which, I mean, the goal is to change that this coming year, but also the goal is to do races that I actually enjoy doing this coming year, which is kind of sick.
So are you not going to go for the wild card?
I'm going to race the Otter for sure, because it's like 2 hours away from my home. And I think like ripping gravel bikes around Fort Ord is kind of sick. Honestly, Unbound is maybe my least favorite race on planet Earth. So I don't know.
Never even done it, and I agree.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, right now, Sea Otter is for sure like one of my big goals of the year. Isn't like I have to be the wild card selection. So I don't know if Sea Otter goes great, and I'm like, okay, like this is a possibility. I might muster up the courage to do Unbound again. But if not, I'll probably stick to the plan at the moment, which is not going for the wild card.
Damn, Unbound gets so much hate on this podcast, man. I'm the only one. I'm the only one that likes it.
I've got the Unbound bug, dude.
You're feeling it?
Dude, that's like the one race I'm like 100. Like I'm like, I think that's like the one race I'm thinking about when I'm training and focused on. And like, and honestly, this is going to sound so lame, but Dylan getting 10th place last year has inspired me. Like, Dylan to me is a normal dude. Keegan is not a normal dude, you know, like he's a freak. But Dylan, normal dude. He got 10th. And I'm like, dude, I'm a normal dude. Maybe I could do really good at that race.
Might just happen.
And I don't know. Yeah, last year, as soon as I crossed the finish line, I was like, dang, if I had done X, Y, and Z differently, I think I could have done a way better. So now I've got like, you know, the bug to try to like fix things and go back more prepared. Like, I'm not even kidding. I think last night or the night before, I had a dream about Unbound and that it was next week. And I'm like, I was freaking out because I was like, oh no, I'm not ready. Like, it snuck up on me and I haven't trained enough. And it's here. Like, I'm having dreams about this race. So,
dude, that's a good sign. That's good.
Yeah, I got the bug.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I'm gonna redact what I said. It's not my least favorite race ever. It's for me, I feel like in order to do well, you have to dedicate probably a month and a half of training to be ready. And then like a month and a half of being in the box afterwards and not quick. That it's like there goes like 3 months of your season.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Like I naturally am not good at pedaling hard for 8-9 hours straight. Like it takes a lot of, like,
I disagree with that, man. You've done well at Unbound the past 2 years.
That's because I freaking like have dedicated a month and a half to be okay at it.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, not gonna lie, every time I've done Unbound, I end up having like a knee injury that keeps me off the bike for like 3-4 weeks afterwards, which kind of sucks. And then it's like in the past, we've gone from that into the altitude block, which like coming off of an injury and then trying to train at altitude when I'm like a sea level boy, like then I get in this mental state where I'm like, dude, I suck at riding bikes.
Welcome.
Yeah, where it's like, I don't know, this year, if I like don't have to do that, maybe I might be in a little better place come like, later June, July, August.
So you're thinking like, yeah, I could do okay at Unbound, or I could do really good at some shorter 100-mile gravel races.
Totally.
Maybe win some of those.
Totally. And yeah, I mean, I think right now I've been kind of proud of like how I've been able to develop as a gravel racer, like coming from cyclocross, which is like an hour all out, and like being kind of at the front of all these big races. But I've never like, aside from BWR last year, like getting second in Arizona, I haven't had like a podium or like close to winning ride in a couple years at like big events. So like now that I'm not in the Grand Prix, it's like, dude, what do I need to do to focus on? Like, I need to go win. Like, I want to go win something. And I think for me, like the BWRs are courses that are a lot more suited towards like who I am as a racer. Like they're kind of like road races with like little cross sections thrown in, super tactical, and like bike handling actually could make a difference. So yeah, I don't know.
I like those races. I think the BWRs are my favorite style of racing for the exact same reason that you just said.
Yeah. No, and it's, I don't know. I mean, it's that those courses are designed by dudes that were like, they are very good bike riders and come from like a moto background.
Yeah.
So they know how to make things that are like kind of tricky and fun. But yeah, I mean, also like over that like Unbound period here in California, we have like Lost and Found. We have a couple of races out in Colorado that I want to do well at. And yeah, I don't know if like not doing anything for a couple months so that I can do Unbound is the route I want to take this year.
Yeah, honestly, we all missed that you weren't in the series. Like, we literally like didn't even notice. And
Really?
I was like, I think I saw, or we were talking about you on the podcast, and I was like, holy crap! Not because you're like insignificant, but I think it was because we assumed you were in it.
Assumed you got in. Yeah,
because you've been in it like every year. Weren't you top 10 one of the years? Like, you were on the podium the first year.
Yeah.
Well, what was weird is that there were riders behind you that got back in.
Yeah, I know.
Well, that's what he's saying. They had more standout rides, like, a third place on the podium at Unbound or something.
Yeah, but Dillman was.
I mean, I think there was. When like the news came out, I was like, oh, that's like a little interesting for sure.
But I'd be pissed if I were you.
Oh, I don't, dude. I don't.
3 or 4 dudes that were slower than me got back in. I'm pissed because like one guy that's faster or slower than me got in, and you got like 5 dudes that are slower than you that got in.
Drew, was there a guy slower than you that got in?
I'm just making the comparison that I was pissed, and I'm not even near as fast as Lance, and I just assumed Lance would be in it. Like,
I think I'm more consistent than a few of the dudes who got in. Like, I beat them more often than they beat me. But
when they beat you, they were like
top 5.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
And the interesting thing, actually, now that you say that, when the series like first got started, everyone was talking about how to do well in the series, you had to be super consistent throughout the year. But it's interesting that you point out, well, if you want to like get in year after year, maybe you just need that standout ride. Because like you said, like they're looking for someone to come in and upset Keegan or, whoever.
Totally.
They don't care as much about the guy that's getting 10th place every single race.
Were you at Schwamigan?
I was. Schwamigan was awful. I was so bad. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You were with me, I think. That is bad. The reason I was asking is I was like, I don't remember seeing a picture of you in the sprint, and I'm like, and because of your cross background, I was thinking Schwamigan should have been like a great race for you.
Yeah, no, I mean, Schwamigan typically has been good. I mean, last year I was in the sprint for the win, and then this year, like I think doing the Leadville straight into Breck Epic and then not taking a break afterwards, I think it really messed me up until I had a really bad Schwamigan, and then the rad was like mediocre. And then I took like literally a week and a half off the bike, didn't even touch it, and then trained for 1 week into Big Sugar and had like a top 10 ride.
Yeah, dude. I think so. You were talking about Unbound and how you're in the box for over a month after Unbound. I think the key is that you have to take a mid-season break right after Unbound. You have to not touch after Unbound. You have to not touch your bike for a week. And then you get back to training. And honestly, I have done that the past couple of years. And when I've done that, I actually really don't feel that bad getting back into it. Obviously, if you take a week off, you're kind of going to feel awful when you first start, regardless of what you did before that. But I think if you really just don't do anything for that week, get back into it, you're going to feel recovered way faster than everybody else who's like, oh, well, I got something else in like 3 weeks, so I got to keep training,
Totally. Yeah. Well, and I mean, I think the amount of volume you did going into Unbound for training and then having like a 10-hour just massive TSS day, like, I don't know. I think you're kind of ridiculous if you don't take at least a week off afterwards.
Yeah.
The body needs that time to like actually use all of that load.
Yeah.
To do some change.
Dude, I kind of look forward to the Unbound block now, like the block before Unbound, where you do a shit ton of volume. Like, I know that's not everybody's favorite thing to do, is just ride massive hours every day for, 2 weeks, 3 weeks straight, however long your Unbound block is. But that's like, I don't know. I feel like that's the time of year that I look the most forward to. Like, hell yeah, I'm going to be freaking on my bike all day, every day. Just eat, sleep, ride, repeat.
You mean you haven't started your Unbound block already?
Yeah, you go ahead and start a Dizzle. You see how that works for you.
I thought it started now. Like, if you want to be good.
6 months straight of Unbound training.
That's what I'm doing. It's like, that's what I'm thinking.
Do it. It might be the key.
I thought you had kids, dude.
Nah, I'm a bad dad. If you want to be good at Unbound, you got to decide that you're going to have to just be bad at other things. And so, yep. Sorry, kids.
You going to change your Instagram handle?
Bad Dad Dizzle?
Bad Dad Dizzle.
Bad Dad. That's pretty good. I told my wife what I just said about, I got like the Unbound bug, and that's like my A event for 2025. And she was like, don't you think you should have talked to me before that? Because she's like aware enough to know that a race like that requires a lot of training. And she's like, don't you think you should have talked to me first? And I was like, yeah, but Dillman did so good last year. And I told her the whole spiel and inspiration. And I was like, it's the one where you don't really need talent. You just have to have like hard work. And she's like, okay, I guess that makes sense. But
yeah. And then she's like, you care more about Dillman than you care about me.
Nah, CJ inspires me, just in a different way.
Yeah.
So Lance, so I want to compare 2022 through 2024 to 2025. Okay, so the last 3 years being in the Grand Prix, what was the race that you looked forward to most during those seasons? And then let's look ahead to 2025. What's the race you look most forward to now that you can like do whatever you want?
Yeah. I mean, I always liked Sea Otter a lot, just because it's like California race. It's local. It's fun. I like riding my mountain bike. And I mean, I've literally been doing Sea Otter since I was 14 years old. So it has like, I don't know, something that just feels really cool. And I've done it so many times that it's just a part of the year that I enjoy. But I also, for some reason, always thought Leadville was super sick, even though it definitely, I suffered a ton because I am not good at altitude, and doing hour-long climbs is not what I'm good at either. But Leadville was just sick. Like it was, I don't know, something about being up in the mountains for like weeks on end, training on the mountain bike, just doing massive days. Like that totally excited me. And like massive days in like doing like 5-6 hours, not 10 hours.
Dude, I appreciate a sea level person saying that, because I feel like I'm the only other sea level person that has that opinion.
Yeah. No, I mean, it takes a lot to be good up there, and it's like you suffer a ton, but I think it's cool because you get to see the cool thing for me at altitude is I go up to a training camp, and the first week I literally feel like I should retire because I'm so bad and I feel horrible and I just want to like ride my bike and then sleep all day. But then like week 2, it's like, okay, I kind of feel better. And then week 3, it's like, oh, I kind of feel like this is where I train all the time. So it's like, it's this cool little window of seeing your body adapt, which kind of excites me. And it's just cool to see like the process turning into something. And then, and I think Leadville's just it races very differently than any other race because everyone's still on the limit from literally that first climb. That it's like, I mean, it isn't raced like any of the sea level races where it's just violent. it's like this race, everyone is just on the limit the whole time. And it kind of just comes down to like, are you willing to push harder than everyone else?
Sure. Yeah.
Which is cool. I don't know. It's a different race.
Yeah. No, I've come to appreciate it a lot, and I feel like I'm the only East Coast rider that has that opinion. Or like sea level rider, I guess you could say. But people on, like, I've grown up on the East Coast my whole life. People on the East Coast hate altitude with a burning passion. All of them. So
yeah.
That's because East Coast riders are spoiled. They get to ride in the mountains without altitude.
Totally. Yeah.
You don't get spoiled. West. You could live here too.
Could. Just don't.
Just don't.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's
we have
cool.
to deal with humidity, dude. Humidity is worse than altitude. Have you ever been to the Southeast US in the summer?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not fun. I feel like training in that heat and humidity makes you super fit as well, though. Like, it's probably the next best thing to altitude.
Yeah, I mean, it does definitely get you heat acclimated fast. That's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so 2025. What does 2025 look for? Or what do you look forward to this year?
Yeah, 2025. I definitely want to do really well early on in the BWR, where they do it, the quad triple. Those 4 races, the 3 of them count.
So you're going to do
so confusing.
So you're going to do all those. You're going to do the BWR series.
I'm going to do all those for sure. Yeah.
Sweet.
So that'll be sick. I'm actually really excited.
Dizzle just got real disappointed.
I know.
What?
There goes my hopes of a top 3. Or all it takes is a Lance, Pete, and Adam to put me off the podium.
Dude, the thing about those races is anything can happen.
Yeah, like I'll probably do. I think I'm going to do the series. I don't know. Like, are you doing Montana?
I'll for sure do Montana.
But Montana's the same day as or the same weekend as SBT.
Mm-hmm.
So you're doing Montana over SBT now?
Probably.
Okay.
Probably. Yeah.
Montana sounds a lot cooler.
Yeah, it's just a new race. I've done SBT a lot. I mean, granted, it's a different course and different kind of overall. I mean, the race is just different this year, but I don't know. I think Montana seems sick.
Yeah,
but
seems like a cool place to race.
Totally. And then after that, I think I want to do part of my reasoning, like, of being okay with not being in the Grand Prix is I want to do Worlds in Nice.
Gravel Worlds?
Yeah, Gravel Worlds, which is the same weekend as Big Sugar. So I think a lot of the middle of my season will be doing some UCI stuff.
Nice.
Which, a little bummer is like the UCI race in Fayetteville is the same weekend as BWR California.
Oh, what the heck? Why do they do that? Who?
I know.
Dude, BWR Cali is like a massive race. Like, you can't put a UCI race on the same weekend as that.
I mean, the UCI probably doesn't care about the Grand Prix at all, but the fact that Worlds is the same day as the Grand Prix final is crazy.
As the mandatory race, yeah, I know. Not great planning.
Also, when is the UCI going to bring Worlds to the US? Like, I thought that was going to be a thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Wow, not anytime soon, because they've already announced, I think, Worlds through 2029.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And it's all in Europe?
Yeah.
Dylan will be retired by then.
Yeah, right.
Well.
We'll all be retired.
So are you planning
next
on
year? So
Lance, are you planning on doing like Euro UCI block then?
Yeah, I'll do a little Euro block and then nationals, and then now there's that UCI race in Mammoth.
California.
In California, yeah. So
Sick.
that'll be That'll be good. And then
is it the Mammoth Tough? Did they get
Mammoth
UCI?
Tough. Yeah,
that's
dude,
a UCI race.
Yeah, it's sick.
That's Dave and Amanda. That's sick.
Yeah, dude.
All
yeah,
right.
that's your old squad.
Yeah, they were like trying to put that. They were trying to get that race up and running like the whole time that I was on the team, and then the initial year that they were going to start it was 2020, and so they had to cancel it. But since then, I think it's grown every year, and yeah, good for them. That's awesome.
No, totally. And I've never done it because it's always, it's always kind of been in that Schwamigan rad big sugar block. But yeah, I mean, it seems sick.
It is sick.
It'd be cool to go support those guys. And
I rode the whole course with Amanda, or at least whatever the course was in like 2019. I went out there and we rode it, and it was sick. Like, there's this canyon, I think it's called Devil's Canyon. There's all these like sick pictures where there's like this road with all these like crazy rock formations, and you're just like winding through all of them. It's sick. Yeah. I bet if you go and look at like Amanda's page or whatever, you can look up and see the pictures. And I think they put that in the race. Pretty cool.
Cool. Yeah. No, I'm excited. It'll be cool.
So I don't know why we haven't talked about this yet, but also, I mean, I'm assuming everybody's seen the news that the Lifetime Grand Prix is going to have a U23 category now. Yeah. I didn't have a lot of details about that, but
really? I didn't see that. What's that mean?
You guys didn't see that?
No.
I saw that.
What is it? They're gonna have
a U23 category.
So does that mean they're gonna do a whole nother application process and bring in 22 more riders, or what is it? No details.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think they've released the details about it yet. I could be wrong. I might be misspeaking. I don't know.
I mean, I think it'd be cool if they just did it like we're gonna have an overall for all U23 riders that participate.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know, like, unless they're doing a selection process where then they're like supporting young riders to do the full series. I mean, doing the full series is very expensive.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you're expecting U23 riders to do the entire series without like supporting them, that narrows the field down quite a bit.
I also feel like this is them kind of taking over USA Cycling, because USA Cycling is constantly trying to develop young riders into professionals. And this is just, Lifetime is basically saying, hey, like, not only do we care about the fastest right now, but we also care about the fastest next generation
in the future. Yeah.
And it's like I feel like it's already happened at this point. Like, Lifetime Grand Prix is bigger than anything going on with USA Cycling in the off-road space, but it's just a further encroachment on anything that USA Cycling was about.
Yeah. I mean,
so it's an application. You can fill out a U23 application right now.
Application, okay. Huh. I mean, I do think, I mean, I've said this for a few years now. Like, I mean, in my case, at least, like, I was really lucky to be in a position like outside of U23 and having really good support when gravel started. Like, well, not when it started, but like it really started becoming a big thing. And I was able to like use the connections I had to like focus on gravel. But for your young riders that don't have like a development pathway into becoming like a gravel privateer, like, dude, that is a huge barrier to entry. Where I mean, I think it's cool that they're like starting some kind of development series. I guess we'll just have to see what that entails.
So for you, if I'm remembering correctly, you won U23 road race Nats. And then it wasn't shortly after that Legion picked you up for road racing. And then it wasn't shortly after that where you said, actually, I'm going to pivot and do gravel. Or maybe that was a slow transition, but Legion was pretty cool. And they were like, yeah, you can keep doing that and we'll keep supporting you. So they picked you up as a road racer, but you eventually, by the end of your time with Legion, you weren't doing any road racing. You were doing full gravel privateers.
Barely. Yeah. No, and I mean, it kind of started. Cool. It kind of started because but
nobody's doing that.
No one's doing that. Yeah. No,
like you're the only case that I can think of where like somebody, like a team did that.
Yeah. No, and I was, dude, insanely lucky. And the team was, awesome in allowing me to do that, and supporting me in doing that. I mean, I think a lot of it came from, they were supporting me racing cross because, I don't know, like crits, cyclocross, like kind of, it makes sense. And then I think over the years, like as the gravel scene picked up and the Grand Prix started, I think there was, a lot of the partners that we have on Legion were like, oh yeah, someone wants to race gravel, like that would be awesome.
Right.
And to be honest, not many other riders on the team were like super stoked on it. Mm-hmm. So, and yeah, I'm always into racing my bike on dirt. So it kind of, the timing was just really good, honestly.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then
I think that what's difficult for most junior and U23 riders coming up as being a gravel privateer is the main way that people are making money racing off-road in the US is that you kind of have to, brands, if they're going to sponsor a privateer, they want an established name that is already recognizable to people. They don't necessarily want the fastest person, although the fastest person is good, right? Because the fastest person is recognizable, but it's not necessarily like your talent level that gets eyes. It's like, how big of a name are you already? And if you're 20 years old, like you haven't established yourself at all, like you could potentially be one of the fastest riders, but if no one knows who you are, you're not attractive to a sponsor, whereas you could be attractive to a team because all the team cares about is getting the results.
Exactly.
What's the kid that we talked to at Gravel Nats, Roman? Roman is part of his name somewhere in there. He's on A.
Ian.
Yeah,
Ian Lopez and Ramon.
There you go. Ian. Yeah. He's like he's a great example of that. Like super fit, talented young kid, but nobody really like knows who he is.
I think more people know who he is than they know who you are, Drew.
Maybe, but I'm just saying, like, why isn't he's like way faster than me, and he left the whole privateer, or he's never done the privateer thing. He's just jumped from team to team.
You know, he was in the Grand Prix last year.
I know, yeah, last year, but he was on wasn't he on the Lauf Mazda team?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and now he's on A Volo. Like it doesn't seem like he's the kind of guy that wants to even do the privateer.
Not everyone wants to do the privateer thing is not bougie. Like it's hard work. You have to manage a lot of different relationships. Like turnkey team is on paper easier.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's talented enough to where he can do that. Like he hopped on A Volo and now he's riding on the road. Like, yeah.
No, and I think the whole privateer thing, like look at kind of where gravel really started picking up, and it was from World Tour or ex-World Tour riders getting into it. And Dylan, like you were saying, it's like those big names that everyone knew, like that's where the support and the eyes went, is to those guys. And then gravel has grown, but it's grown with like a lot of dudes that already have a name from whatever they were doing before gravel.
Sure. Yeah. So it's just like what is the next generation going to do? Because the current generation of U23 riders and junior riders, they don't have a thing before gravel. They're just growing up in a time when gravel is like the main discipline in the US, that if you're going to race off road and make money at it, you need to be racing gravel. So it's like, so So what does the new pathway become? Because like you can't already be an established rider. Like how do you break into being a professional gravel rider if you weren't established from being World Tour before, or being, you know, XCO mountain bike before, whatever it is?
Start a YouTube channel today. Today. You can't wait till tomorrow. Get on it. If you ain't doing that, you kiss that privateer life.
Yeah, it is.
Bye-bye.
It is tough. I mean, I've coached a handful of kids that are in that situation, you know, where they're coming up and, you know, kind of like trying to break into the elite scene and the off-road scene. And yeah, support is hard to come by. What's challenging too is you have guys, and not to throw shade, but you have guys like Ted King who are taking up a lot of resources at 40 years old, right? I mean, I'm not saying like love
that's
Ted.
so much shade, dude.
Love Ted, great dude.
His slice of the pie is a little too big. How do we?
Well, I'm just saying. So like that is taking away resources from up and comers, because sponsors are willing to and wanting to keep those relationships going for a long period of time. Like they're getting a ton of exposure from someone like Ted King. So again, not that it's a bad business move on anyone's part. It's just that those resources can only get spread so thin. So if someone's taking up those resources for 10 plus years, that doesn't leave as much for the up and coming guys. So I do think this is kind of cool. Like I was reading the application page. Sounds like they are going to take 25 riders for the men's and women's U23 category. Everyone will basically be competing for spots in the 2026 series. So it says the top racers will get into the 2026 series. I don't know if that means first place or maybe top 3. It says that if you're in the U23 program and you qualify for one of the wild card spots for this year, you automatically get bumped out of the category, but you get the ultimate prize, which was getting into the series. So I don't think there's any like prize money up for grabs. Unless
they get into the series and then get top 10 in the series. That would be
baller. For sure.
That would be so baller.
In the U23 program, I don't think they're competing for prize money, but they are competing for 2025 or 2026 spots.
Yeah.
I got to be honest, the Lifetime Grand Prix, just at the formats of races, are not very conducive to younger riders. You know, like they definitely favor older riders who have more miles in their legs.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what I was going to ask is like, do you guys think 25 athletes that are U23 should focus on this? Like, should they put their name in the hat for this? Or is
so I think as of right now, if you're not at the level where you can do World Tour Road, or you're not at the level where you can do XCO mountain bike, if you want to make as much money as possible and you're at the level where you can you're competitive domestically in the US, you need to be racing gravel. That's how you make as much money as possible racing your bike in the US right now. And right now, what's dominating that space is the Grand Prix. Obviously, you don't have to do the Grand Prix. You can have a completely different schedule. But if a U23 rider has aspirations of being a professional cyclist in the US, I think absolutely that's something that they should be focusing on.
Here's how you figure this out. Go get your VO2 tested right now, next week. And if it's over 80, you could probably make it on the road or mountain biking. Like, essentially world tour if you're over 80, 85. If you're under 80, kiss those dreams bye-bye and start sucking up to be a gravel privateer.
Don't listen to Drew. Don't listen to Drew.
If I got my VO2 tested when I was 18 and they told me it was less than 70,
no, dude,
I would have been like, all right, I'm never making it pro.
You remember
I'm never going to make it as a pro road cyclist.
You remember what Chad Haidet said his VO2 was?
He lied.
He said it was like 65.
He's lying.
No, dude.
That's not what he said.
He did say that.
I thought he said 70.
No, he said it was all... No, he said the testing method was all jacked up. He said that that's not accurate.
Sounds like Dylan's testing
Every single pro road cyclist I have asked is over 80. Lance is over 80.
Lance, do you know your VO2 max?
Yeah, he told me. I don't know if he wants to tell it, but
it's close to 80. But
yeah. 83 is close to 80. I'm just kidding. I don't know. No, maybe you did. I asked you and I asked Tobjorn at the same time, and I think Tobjorn's was like 80 something.
I'm sure his was higher than mine. Yeah.
What do you say his name?
Tobjorn.
Toby.
Tobjorn.
Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah.
My bad. Toby Roed. Yeah.
Dude, I mean, he's wicked strong.
Yeah. He's a guy that maybe could have made it on the road. I don't even know why he came here for college. He should have just stayed and raced road somewhere else.
Dude,
Have you gone
the pathway to be a World Tour road cyclist?
Me?
Yeah.
Nah, I've been all over the place,
dude,
but
most people cannot handle it.
Oh, like just from
it's just not enjoyable.
Oh, yeah.
Unless you are killing the game.
Right. Okay.
Like Scott. Fair. Oh, he just dipped.
Yeah, like Scott.
Yeah. Scott kills the game.
But if you're just grinding it out as a domestique, it's not worth the.
Yeah, totally. Well, and as an American, or I guess Tobjorn's not American, but you go over and do those Euro road races, and I mean, dude, like you spend half the time like freaking bandaged up.
Mm.
And it's just, yeah. I mean, especially in the U23s, it's carnage.
Yeah. Okay.
Which, I mean, it's
that's
super
good.
sick. If you're someone who's like good enough to make it through that, I freaking 100% respect to that. But yeah, it's not shiny and awesome. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It's coming from somebody who's actually done it. I've been to Europe to race cross, but that's a whole other thing.
That in my opinion is super sick. Racing cross in Europe, but yeah,
road not so much.
I don't think people realize how big of a disadvantage it is for, say, Americans, Australian riders, South African riders to try to get into the World Tour in Europe, which is a European dominated sport. Like you're at such the travel is one thing, but then the style of racing is completely different than what you're used to, and the culture is completely different, and all these factors like compound on top of one another. It's so much more difficult from a country outside of if you live in a country outside of Europe to break into European World Tour road racing.
I mean, you have to be willing to like live there, like that's your home.
Yeah. I mean, dude, like you look at Matteo, you look at Riley, for example. Like, I mean, those dudes, they straight up moved to France, like, and raced for French like domestic elite teams before going on to the squads that they're on now. Which it's like, yeah, no one was freaking holding their hand doing that. Which, yeah, I mean, it's badass. But unless you are like 100% willing to do that,
you're never gonna. Yeah. I mean, like a great example is like Jeremy Powers never committed to living in Europe, and he would do okay in Europe. But Jonathan Page is, I think, from my memory, it was maybe the only pro-American cyclocross racer to move to Europe and say, I'm going to live here. Yeah. And he's hands down the best American cyclocross racer we've ever seen in U.S. history. He got second at Worlds one year. That's the best result we've ever had.
Best European elite results for sure. Yeah.
But he was committed to like, I'm going to live here.
Yeah.
And Jeremy Powers might have been better than him, but never made that commitment. He always did the 50-50.
Yep. Yeah.
All right. Totally. So speaking of cyclocross, are you guys doing cross nats this weekend?
Dude, I'm so bummed, but no. This is the first cross nats I have not raced since 2009, 2008, 2000.
Wow.
Yeah. When nationals were in Bend, that was like literally the start of me as a bike racer. And I've raced cross nats and done a full cross season every year except this year.
Were you tempted to go just to keep the streak alive?
Part of me is really bummed. What was that?
Were you tempted to go just to keep the streak alive?
A little bit. And then I looked at flight prices and I was like, okay, no, just kidding.
And then you look at reg prices and they're just as expensive as flight prices.
Yeah.
It's 10 minutes from my house and I didn't want to pay the reg fee.
You're not racing?
Nah, I missed registration.
Oh,
so then I'm like, it closed like last Wednesday and I wouldn't even race till this Saturday. I've not even like done a single cyclocross thing. Like I don't have any tires mounted up. I haven't done anything in that regard. So I'm like, I could pay $200 to go get, I don't know, probably not even top 10 in the race. And the main reason I was thinking about doing it was to make a YouTube video, but now I'm like, I could still do that. So I'm going to go on Friday when everybody's out there pre-riding and I'm going to try to convince I've got 3 GoPros. I'm going to try to put those 3 GoPros on the top 3 guys. So I'm going to ask Brunner, Strohmeyer, and Funston.
They're not going to accept that, dude. That's extra weight.
I'm going to whip out it. So here's my plan. I'm going to have a pocket full of 20s. And if they don't accept it for $0, I'll just keep pulling out a 20 one at a time.
What if they listen to this?
For 20?
Of course, they're not going to accept it the first time.
They're not going to listen to
$20,
this, dude. These guys don't listen to this podcast. This podcast comes out Thursday. I'm going to do this on Friday. No way.
Wait, so who do you think the top 3 will be?
I mean, I think Brunner or Strohmeyer is going to win. And then Funston, Werner, and White will be somewhere in the rears.
I think Curtis is going to win.
Damn. Idiot. Maybe. I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
What do you think, Lance?
I mean, I definitely think Brunner, Strohmeyer probably going to win, one of those guys. Unless they crash each other out.
Yeah, like last year they almost did, didn't they?
Yeah.
Wasn't that them that had the big mishap?
Yep. So those guys definitely the favorites. I feel like I don't know. Personally, I think I have to put my money on Brunner because Strohmeyer came in super hot at the start of the season, and Brunner
he didn't even show up for like the first half of the season.
Yeah, but Curtis started so bad.
Dude, Brunner, I will say Curtis has had the, like, if you give the like most amount of progression throughout the season, most improved, definitely Curtis.
That's great. That's great.
But I think it depends on the conditions because the trickier and proper like cross technique it is, like the more technique that's required, the better Curtis will do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that dude is a cross machine.
He's all about the fundamentals.
Yeah, which is
he is.
Yeah. Cross is a sport where that's essential.
I don't think it's going to be like a mud fest like it was in 2018 or whatever year that was, but I think it'll be very similar to last year where it's not dry, but it's not muddy. It's just kind of like a little bit sloppy, but because it's raining. It rained yesterday. I think it's raining today, but it's supposed to be dry the rest of the week. And then it's like a 40% chance on the day of the race on Saturday. So
totally. Okay. Yeah, that's not.
Doesn't lean heavily towards Curtis.
No.
Yeah. I'm curious to see how they changed the course. Like if they made it harder. I thought the course in 2018, and maybe this was just the conditions talking, but like I thought that course was like really hard. But you also had to run like a third of the course. And I thought they eased up on it a little too much last year. Like they made the course a little too easy. And then I think they got that feedback. And I think one of the things they were going to change this year was make it a little more challenging.
A little more challenging. Dude, that would be cool.
Yeah.
So the guy I want to see win is Kerry. I want to see Kerry win.
I mean, yeah, like everybody wants to see Kerry or Curtis win. Yeah.
No, everybody wants to see Curtis win. Dude. They just want to see Kerry win.
Curtis has already won.
I don't know, man. If you're a pure cyclocross fan, I think everybody is like Curtis kind of runs this, like, I don't know. He just seems, what do they call him? The mayor?
The mayor.
Yeah. I mean, okay, look at the domination of U.S. cyclocross for like literally the last decade. I mean, Tim Johnson, Jeremy Powers, Hyde, and then Curtis was like the next, like,
leapfrog
Massachusetts dude. And I mean, yeah, like, I think the cross purists, they love Curtis.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's got this is a cool stat. He's been second place in the pro race 3 times, and all 3 times a different person beat him. Yeah, Stephen Hyde, Gage Heck, and Bruner.
Yeah.
And he got second behind 3 different riders. So every year he was second, somebody else had like swapped out for first. And you'd think like, oh, if he's second this year, maybe next year he'll win. Maybe next year he'll win. He finally did win, but man, that's like
I think when Curtis won, whatever, 2 or 3 years ago, I think everyone was super stoked for him then.
Yeah.
But now I don't know that the same would happen.
I think people would be more stoked for Kerry because he hasn't won it. And he also announced his retirement this year, and it was so sad.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah, it was sad.
You know?
His retirement. You mean like honestly, that soppy video of where he said he was working?
Yeah, that
one. Okay.
Yeah, that one.
But he's still racing a full cross calendar. So
retired.
how's he retired? He just has to work now.
I'm just telling you what he said on the video. He said
he's not retired.
He said he wasn't a professional bike racer.
Retirement.
He's going into cross nats as like maybe one of the favorites or a what do you call it? Not a long shot, but a
dark horse. A dark horse.
I'm just saying,
dark horse. Yeah.
Well,
you don't do that if you're retired.
I think Kerry said he's not getting paid to race his bike anymore. What he's getting paid to do is do some other BS that's not racing his bike. You know, like he's got a real job now, not racing his bike.
Good, Kerry. Good. You've got a job. That's good. Like, I don't know why you're complaining, man. You got a pretty good job if you can do as much racing as you do.
Yeah. No, and this is my thinking. If you look at all the guys that could potentially win cross nats right now, the selfish side of me, like, I think cross is the best discipline in cycling, period. But it has been on this decline for freaking 8 years now. And if you look at all the guys that could potentially win, I think Terry has the greatest potential to like bring the trend back up a little bit.
Oh, so if he wins, that could alter the future of cyclocross.
Out of all the dudes that could win this year, I think he has the greatest chance.
100% agree.
I would agree with that. Dude, yeah.
That's why I want him to win.
Okay.
If Bruner wins, or if Strohmeyer wins, or hell, even if Curtis wins, no one would even know about it. But if Kerry wins, dude, everyone's going to know about it.
Yeah, he'll make a YouTube video. Okay. All the gravel dads will be like, oh, dude, that guy has a full-time job and he won nationals. I got a full-time job.
Agreed. Yeah.
I could win
full-time is I don't know if he that's the right term. I don't know if that's the right terminology.
Dude, he works full-time. We've even Tyler and I have met with him about potentially partnering with the podcast, and we have to talk to him during business hours.
Yeah. No, dude, Kerry freaking hustles.
Yeah.
He hustles.
The last time I talked to him, I was like, yeah, so how's I don't know, corporate life or whatever. And he's like, oh, dude, it fucking sucks, man.
I mean, when you go from like your only job is to train and race to now you have some other responsibilities, I guess that would suck. But if all you've ever known is I'm going to train and race and have other responsibilities, then it's pretty good.
Dude, Kerry doesn't even have kids, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm training, racing, got other responsibilities, and I got kids.
That's why you should race cyclocross, dude. So much easier to just race cross.
Yeah. I will say for your life demands at the moment, Drew, cross is probably the best discipline.
Yeah, why are you trying to train for Unbound when you got kids, dude?
Dude, you make it work.
I don't have kids.
No, not you. I'm saying I'll make it work.
Like, okay. You meant like you as in me.
Yeah, I meant you as in me. Like everybody. We had a guy message in last week on the MATCHBOX and said he was like, I'm doing 3-a-days. I'm riding 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour during my lunch break, and 1 hour after work.
Dude,
and I was like,
respect,
bro. Awesome. Like if I had that much motivation, I'd be way faster than I am right now. The fact that somebody like that who's got a full-time job is squeezing out every hour he can get on the trainer to get he's doing 3-a-days. I was like, dang, like that's commitment.
What kind of
like if you've got these goals, you just you do it.
If I was doing 3 days on the trainer,
he's doing so much goddamn laundry.
Literally, I would go broke because I'd have to do laundry so much.
I know.
We did say that. We talked about that
through the roof.
No, I'm in the market for a new washing machine. So I want to know what this guy's got. Have you seen these 2-in-1 ones?
If you start talking about washing machines, dude, I swear.
It's
the 2-in-1s are
washing machine and dryer. You just start it and your clothes come out clean and dry.
Scott, are you like allergic to talking about bikes? Like what is the deal?
Hasn't talked the whole time and now he's pumped to talk about it.
You know what I will say?
The 2-in-1 dryer.
Don't get an LG dishwasher.
Oh, no.
LG dishwashers suck.
And Adam, you're the worst for encouraging it.
LG. Why?
Somebody left a comment on the last video like, Scott doesn't talk for 35 minutes straight and then he won't shut up about his phone plan. Why is he on the podcast? And I was like, yeah dude.
Whenever I talk about something like that, somebody DMs me with some valuable advice. So I use this as like my life coaching, you know?
Yeah, life's toughest questions answered on the Bonk Bros.
Like however many people listen to this, that's how many inputs I get into decisions like this.
Wow. Yeah. That's why I keep saying we need to leverage the podcast to get free housing at every single event. We just said, all right, I got these races coming up. Who's got a house for me? Somebody will message us.
You're the only one that needs free housing.
I feel like everyone can stay at my house except for Drew.
Is that why? Is that what happens?
Yeah, that's what would happen, unfortunately.
Yeah. Dang.
All right, hey guys, I gotta bounce. You guys gonna keep going?
I kind of have to bounce too because I have to ride before it rains. So let's shut it down. It's gonna be a short episode, but let's shut it down.
What? It's an hour 15, dude. It's plenty long.
Well, they've been an hour 45 recently. So
wait, did I come on like 15 minutes late?
Yeah, you came on a little late.
But no. You came on time. We just started early.
Okay, got you.
Yeah, you're good, man.
Want to make sure. Sick.
All right, Lance. Thanks for coming on, man.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Lance.
Yeah.
Any final quick takes for Lance since we got him? I feel like there was
we're
else.
shutting it down, dude.
Are you friends with are you friends with Lance Armstrong?
No.
Everyone hang up in 3, 2, 1.
Go.